For project one, I've had these candle holders for a little while and I want to dress them up for the holidays. For this project, I'm going to use Redesign with Prima's Christmas Tags Transfer. There are 3 sheets to choose from, and I want to pick a couple transfers that are complementary and gold in color. For my projects this holiday, I've been going towards the golds, and I want my vignette in my booth to reflect that. To apply the transfer, I remove the backing sheet and I lay the design on the candle holder, making sure it is secure and in place. Next, I use the burnishing tool that's included in the transfer pack, and I rub the design, making sure the transfer is completely adhered to the candle holder. Here I'm slowly removing the protective sheet, making sure the transfer is adhered. After the design is applied, I use the protective sheet to rub over the transfer to ensure there are no bubbles and it is secure. I repeat the same process to apply the transfer on the second candle holder. To seal the transfers, I use Dixie Belle Paint Company's Clear Coat in Satin. To further embellish the candle holders, I'm going to use Dixie Belle Paint Company's Gold Digger Metallic Paint. I'm painting just on the inside rim to give it that gold flare that I've been creating with my holiday projects. And this quick upcycle is finished. What do you think? Please comment below. I just love the added metallic gold to this project. For project 2, I'm creating some angel molds to attach to a mixed media sign. To start, I'm using the Redesign with Prima Elegant Archangel mold and Finnabar mica powder. I'm creating a mold with the mica powder by dusting it into the mold, and I want to make sure I get it up along the sides of the mold too. And what's going to happen is I'm going to use the amazing 10-minute casting resin. There's parts A and B here. I'm mixing the two together, and I'm going to pour them into the mold, as you can see, and it takes 10 minutes for it to cure. Once the resin has cured, you pop them out of the mold and you've got this beautiful effect from the mica powders. Here I have a board I will be using for my mixed media project. I'm using Dixie Belle Paint Company's Bunker Hill Blue chalk mineral paint, and I will apply 2 coats. I've had this music notes stencil for a little while, and I'm going to apply the image to my board using Dixie Belle Paint Company's Gold Digger metallic paint. When stenciling, I like to load my brush, but then I offload it on a paper towel so it's not too heavy with paint. And I like to dab with these smaller images on the stencil. By offloading the paint and dabbing, it just ensures that there won't be any bleed through on these smaller cut designs of the stencil. Next, I have this music sheet page, and I'm going to tear a portion of it just to fit the bottom of my board. Next, I want to give my music sheet an aged effect. I'm using a Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink pad called Vintage Photo. And I'm just going to go around the edges and dab for the color that I want to give it an aged look. To apply the music sheet, I'm using Redesign with Prima's Decoupage Matte Gel. I also found a song title and I'm going to attach it to the music sheet on my board. The song title says, "Sing Hallelujah." For the final step, I'm attaching my angel molds with Titebond wood glue. And here's the final look. I just love mixed media. It gives your project so much interest. Let me know, what did you think of this project? Also, as a reminder, I do sell paint, mica powders, and molds on my website. For project 3, I have this cute rocking horse that I started to prepare molds on, and I need to choose a color and further embellish it. I chose to base coat the entire rocking horse in Dixie Belle Caviar Chalk Mineral paint. I have applied 2 coats of Dixie Belle Caviar to my project, and it's time to embellish it. I'm keeping in mind of the vision I have for the vignette I want to create for the holidays. Here I have a stencil that I pulled from my supplies, and I'm going to use Dixie Belle's Gold Digger metallic paint to apply it. To seal my project, I'm using Minwax polyacrylic satin spray. For some final touches, I'm going to add a bow, some greenery, and some gold gilding wax around the molds on the main. Taking the extra steps to add embellishments and even a bow adds a lot to your projects. And we're finished. What did you think of the upcycled rocking horse? I just love the added embellishments, and the red berries really pop on this project. Please comment below if these are the types of projects you'd like to see more of on my videos. For project 4, I have this thrifted cutting board. I'm going to upcycle it using recycled decoupage papers and redesign with Prima molds. As you can see, it was already painted white, but I'm going to give it another coat to clean it up a bit. Here I have recycled Christmas Masterboard decoupage paper. I like the Merry Christmas section with the deer, and I'm going to cut the design out about a ½ inch wider than my project. This will give me enough to work with to center my design on my board. To decoupage the paper to my board, I like to work in sections, and I'm using Dixie Belle Paint Company's Clear Coat Satin as a decoupage medium. I'm applying the clear coat liberally to my board, and then I'm going to mist my decoupage paper before laying it down on my project. Misting your paper before application helps to stretch the paper, and it avoids a lot of those unnecessary wrinkles that you might see after it's dried. When applying decoupage paper, I also like to use a ball of saran wrap to press down and smooth out any wrinkles. I'm going to set my board aside to dry, and I'm going to use Redesign with Prima's Tree Sparkling Season mold. It's a beautiful tree with a lot of detail. To create the tree, I'm going to be using Das clay, and before I start, I like to dust my mold with cornstarch. I find it helps when releasing the image from the mold. Here I have a silicone mat, and I'm going to roll out my clay about the size of the tree in the mold. I find rolling out the clay helps to keep a more even distribution once I place it in the mold. Once in the mold, I'm just working my way around, removing any excess clay. To remove the mold, I flip it over and roll it out. I'm going to set the mold aside for a moment and get back to my board. Now that the decoupage paper has completely dried, I'm going to use a sanding block and in a downward motion, work my way around my project, removing the excess paper. To seal the decoupage paper, I'm going to apply 1 coat of Dixie Belle Paint Company's Clear Coat Satin. Getting back to my mold, I want to create a paint color. I'm going to use Dixie Belle Chalk Mineral Paint in Evergreen, and I'm going to add a little bit of caviar to it to create a really pretty pine green color. I'm going to begin painting my tree, but keep in mind the clay is not completely cured. I have to keep a light hand so I don't mash any of the details. Next, I remove the tree from the silicone mat, and I'm going to lay it on wax paper and use a hairdryer to dry the paint. My vision for this project was to use my mold in place of the tree that's on the decoupage paper to create a raised 3D effect. I've aligned my mold on my project, and I'm using a craft knife to remove any excess. Next, it's time to apply the mold to my project. I'm using Titebond wood glue, and I'm ensuring that all the fine details on the edge of my mold are fully covered. Using the same green paint mixture, I'm painting the sides and the handle of my board. To bring out the details in the tree, I'm using Finnabar Vintage Gold Metallic Wax. To create a more aged look, I'm using Dixie Belle Paint Company's Best Dang Wax in brown, and I'm just applying it around the edges of my board. To soften the look around the board, I use a lint-free cloth to pull back the wax. For a final touch, I'm adding a Christmas bow to the handle. I just love this project. It was really fun to create, mixing the molds with the decoupage paper. And I want to remind you that you can find these supplies and more on my website at thechalktrunk.com. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I enjoy creating videos, teaching, and inspiring others. Thanks for watching.